Pledge of Allegiance to our flags. Commissioner, will you lead us in prayer?
Sure. You bow your heads and pray with me. Father, we come to you on this day where 22 years ago, we remember that we were attacked. And Lord, we just ask you to be with the families of those victims and those affected by that. And Lord, just bless them. And Lord, because of that, we've become a stronger nation. Lord, we just ask that you bless everything that we do today, that it would be in your name and in your glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. On our Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Agenda item number 3, public comments.
We do have several. We have another one for the
Okay. Mr. Roberta Wigley. Ms. Wigley, you have the podium. You have 3 minutes, ma'am.
Hi. So in November of 2022, I was a supposed victim of an alleged crime, forced me to interact with the Wilson County Sheriff's Department. The entire interaction was inappropriate, so much so that I filed a formal complaint, and now I'm bringing the issue before the Commissioner's Court, praying that it doesn't fall on deaf ears. At the outset of our encounter, I explained that I was not okay and I was having a mental health crisis. The deputy downplayed my condition. He chuckled and told me his wife was crazy too. I'm bipolar 1. I was having a manic episode with psychosis. Instead of getting me the help that I needed, they validated my delusions and paranoia and then tried to fuel them with allegations of rape. While I understand that peace officers have very little training in mental health, his reaction and following actions were absolutely abhorrent. This deputy began questioning me intensely and explicitly about my sex life. When I asked if I was required to answer his questions in the explicitly graphic manner in which he was requesting, he told me yes, I was required. The line of questioning and the manner in which I was interrogated made me feel incredibly uncomfortable and dirty. Throughout the entire interrogation, he tried to coerce me into saying what he wanted me to say. He would get frustrated and angry with me if my responses did not match his narrative, even calling me a liar. At the conclusion of the interview, I was walking out and he was on my left side. He wrapped his arm around me, put his right hand on my right shoulder, and he squeezed and he whispered in my ear, he said, I will make you say he raped you. This deputy had no right to touch me in the manner in which he did, especially after the interrogation that he forced me to endure. The entire complaint's been filed. I'm sure you can look it up. This is not the time. I don't have the time, and this is not the forum to delve into all of those grievances. But when I filed the complaint, I said that even though he turned off the body camera intermittently throughout the interview, there was a camera in the interview that should have caught the entire interaction. I was informed either the camera doesn't work or they didn't use it, which led the only capture of the interaction, the intermittent body camera footage. This was a pattern. For every complaint I had, either he never turned on the camera or he had turned it off just before my complaint. To date, the Sheriff's Office has not provided me with even a redacted copy of the report, as is my legal right. I was able to view it, and I learned why. In the report, the deputy in question stated that between the time he turned off the camera and turned it back on, I said many things that I simply did not say. He used the gap in the footage to provide false information that he used in the report. It is absolutely distressing to me that with the incorporation of body-worn cameras, there is still so little accountability and transparency with the Wilson County Sheriff's Department. Mine is not an isolated case. I don't have extensive knowledge, but according to the media, lack of body cam footage was also an issue where a deputy was recently arrested. I'm sure y'all can confirm that with records request. But the question that burns is this officer acting within departmental policy? And if so, should this policy allow these deputies to turn their body cameras off so flippantly or allow them to not be turned on during an investigation? What is the point of these cameras if not to be an accurate record of events? This was just a fraction of the damage that one Wilson County deputy was able to cause in a matter of a couple hours. I'm not able to voice these concerns to the Sheriff's Department because I have no faith in the department to uphold the law when it comes to this. So I'm coming to you, the elected guardians of this county, to help where our sheriff has not, and restore transparency, accountability, and integrity to the Wilson County Sheriff's Department. Thank you.
Mr. Chris Jacobs.
How's it going, gentlemen? I am here. I am a planning and zoning commissioner with the city of Livonia, and something was brought to to the city's attention with a service company that services Wilson County. In the non-standard plat variance application checklist that Wilson County provides to landowners that want to subdivide properties, there is a call for a letter from appropriate electric utility suppliers and water utility suppliers. Up until recently, you could get that letter for free or $50. As of now, SS Water charges $4,500 to a landowner that wants to get a service letter to subdivide their property. The reason why I'm bringing this up in particular is because I have a client who has 14 acres on County Road 326. He has a water meter on that property. He wants to split it in half because he can't afford it. He's broke, he's in bad shape, he's an elderly gentleman. He can't subdivide that property because it would cost him $9,000 to get 2 service letters to facilitate your application. What I'm asking for y'all to do is review your application request and remove that requirement so that SS Water can no longer charge people $4,500 for a service letter to say whether or not they provide water to that property, especially if there's already a meter on that property. I understand that there are subdivisions and all this stuff going on, and you want to make sure you have capacity. It is not the individual landowner's responsibility to get capacity verified when they're not putting a meter on, and all they are doing is trying to sell their property, especially when it's not going to be a subdivision. Thank you.
Ms. Cheryl, sorry. Ms. Cheryl Cavazos?
Good morning. I don't have anything as heavy as those 2 individuals. I'm Cheryl Cavazos. I'm the president of the Abrego Lake Homeowner Association, and I'm here really to publicly thank Commissioner King this morning for assisting us in addressing a safety issue that we have had for several years on one of our bridges as you enter our subdivision. So myself and one of my other board members asked him to come out a little over a month ago or so, and really to address another issue that we have. But in doing so, we showed him that we had some erosion going on this bridge, and we only have one way in and out of this subdivision. So potentially it could have been a real safety issue in time with further erosion. So we asked for a very simple solution, and I'm glad to say that Commissioner King and his team came out and went way beyond what we initially asked for in terms of just securing the erosion there in that area by the bridge. So I'm just here to publicly thank you, sir, for addressing that, and the solution that the county implemented should keep us safe and secure, and the security of that bridge, for years to come. And really, that's really all I'm here to say, is to publicly thank the commissioner for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kibbe?
I'm really here because I got curious this weekend, and I was trying to do some tracking of the financials for the county over time, and discovered that the annual financial report that had been the practice of this county to publish onto its website annually is no longer happening. The last one that was posted was 2020, which would have been 3 years ago, but it's 2 years worth of reports that are just not there. I'm not sure why that stopped, but I would suggest that those need to be posted, because when you go to track things and you're trying to find out how things are changing over time, you've got a really big gap there. And it's obvious that the county had been posting it for some time. And it was because I was trying to figure out why we were doing a 5.5% tax increase this year that made me curious enough to start doing this, and it was like, where's the information? So I would really recommend that you all instruct whoever's job it is to do that, to go back to doing their job, okay? Thank you very much.
Mr. Carlos Phoebus? Mr. Phoebus,
Yes, sir.
you're up, sir.
Oh, we're ready for 11C?
Your public note, you want to public speak?
Oh, yes, sir. I thought we were going to discuss it at the time we got there, but, sir, sorry about that. I had to talk with Mr. Chris there. Hey, morning, everybody. I'm Carlos Fibas, SS Water General Manager. Had a talk with him just now because what he, I guess, is going to eat into my time. But long story short, it does not cost $9,000. I don't know what he was talking about. I explained to him our process, and long story short, if someone comes to subdivide a property into 2 or more lots, we call that person a developer. I know some people have an issue with the term. You can call it whatever you want, doesn't matter. The reason we do that is to ensure that folks who are selling the lots for ostensibly for profit, for whatever reason, that they cover the cost to add whatever infrastructure is needed on that lot. And I gave Chris an example. We had someone come in who had 2 lots, wanted to split that into 4 lots. And it turned out that where that lot was, the water main serving it, half of that was on a gravity-fed portion of the system, and the other half was in a pressure-fed, pressure tank system, right in the middle of that lot. And so, again, long story short, that fee was used to help pay for the addition, the system improvements to that, to allow that those 4 lots, and that came out to like some $14,000. Had we not have required that investigative fee to find that out, the membership would have had to pay that addition for the landowner to then sell the lots and make the profit. Now, we're not against anyone making any profit. All we're saying is, as we're a nonprofit organization, that we don't subsidize any kind of profit-making. The membership doesn't subsidize any kind of profit-making venture, because when those lots are sold, we don't expect developers to share the profits with us. And so that's why we require developers to pay all infrastructure improvements as part of selling lots. That's why we do that. So I lost 2 minutes of my time, but I did have some comment or questions on the subdevelopment changes you had here. I'll try to go to them as quickly as I can. So dense lot spacing, you have no minimum lot size. I recommend a 1/4 acre minimum, or if not, that the county explicitly allows us to use the county greenway, the right-of-way to use for utilities, because if a lot's too small and we can't get in there to service the lines, then that becomes an issue. And that was on page 16 and 15. Page 33, they're asking for, let's see, a surface water or where the water's coming from. I'm just wondering what the importance of that is, so that can change. Where you do groundwater right now, City of Lavernia buys their water from CRWA, which is groundwater under the influence, or surface water. I mean, it can change, so I was just wondering what the importance of that was. Page 38, on number 11, no water meters or fire hydrants shall be placed more than 2 feet inside the county right-of-way. My only suggestion to that was the water meters is fine within 2 foot, but for hydrants, to change that to say between 2 and 4 feet from the property line, because our techs need room to turn wrenches, and also depends on where the water main is, because a saddle might not be long enough to keep it away, or to ensure that 2 foot minimum for that one. I don't know, I'm out of time trying to go up. Page 59 for the utility easement. I was just curious as to why there is no mention of water utility. Easement there is just electric. And on page 69 for attachment 2, there is a request for TCQ certification of groundwater. TCQ doesn't hand that out. To my knowledge, they don't hand out saying, yes, this area is groundwater or surface water or whatnot. We can help with that, but to my knowledge, TCQ doesn't do that. So just so you're aware of that. And last question I had, page 84, on the attachment 10 there, you're talking about checking for 2,500 to 5,000 gallon storage tanks are required, but you're talking about in the rest of the instruction, 30,000 gallon tanks. So I'm not sure if that needed to be updated as well or not. So I can provide these after a break, but thank you for that. I just wanted to bring that up. Thanks.
Okay, I Agenda item number 4, certificates and completions of awards. We have none, correct? No, sir. All right. Agenda item number 5, extension activity reports. You want to present them? You want to talk about them? Okay. All right, okay.
People online can't hear you. You're going to need to come up to the microphone.
Come on up for a minute. Who's your intern?
So this is Miss Ariana Trevino. She will be with me for about 4 weeks. So yeah,
Come on up.
she's an intern with Abilene Christian University. Yeah.
So how long are you going to be here?
4 weeks.
Weeks. Okay, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 6, Brenda Trevino, Auditor. We're going to go to 6A, 9 a.m., 2023 tax rate hearing, and this is an open hearing to the audience, which I assume somebody may want to make a comment. Okay. Okay, there is none. Go ahead.
The no new revenue tax rate is the tax rate for 2023 that will raise the same amount of property tax revenue for Wilson County from the same properties in both the 2022 tax year and the 2023 tax year. The voter approval tax rate is the highest tax rate that Wilson County may adopt without holding an election to seek voter approval of the rate. The voter approval tax, the no new revenue tax rate is 0.391633. The voter approval tax rate is 0.413133, and the proposed tax rate is 0.413133 for every $100. In 2022, the total tax rate was 0.430174. We are proposing for 2023 0.413133, which is a decrease of 0.017041 from the current property tax rate. The average homestead taxable value in 2022 was $243,624. The value for 2023 as determined by the CAD is $270,015. So this is an increase of $26,391 or 10.83%, of which we have no control over because those are set by the appraisal district. The average tax on that homestead for 2022 was $1,048. For 2023, this will increase by $68 to $1,116. Total tax levy on all properties for 2022 was $19,639,235. And for 2023, total tax levy on all properties is $21,257,134, which is an increase of $1,617,898. Of that, 943 was new property for the year. $923,138.55 is tax revenue on new properties. So at this time, Judge, it's open for public comment on the hearing.
Is there any public comment? There are not. Thank you. We'll move to item number 6B, vote on the setting the salary, expenses, and other allowances of elected county or precinct officers, LGC 152.013.
Judge, the proposed salaries and all expenses for elected officials were provided in the proposed budget and sent to all elected officials on August the 15th. The notice of publication went to the Wilson County News and posted on our website on August the 10th. Wilson County is proposing a 5% increase for all elected officials and employees, and constables to be raised to $45,000.
All right, Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion on 6B, vote on setting salary expenses and other allowances of elected county or precinct officers, and then we'll open it up for discussion.
I'll make a motion to set the salaries, expenses, and other allowances of elected county or precinct officers as presented by the county auditor.
Second.
All right, Commissioners, there's a motion made by Commissioner Martin, seconded by Commissioner Paradola. We're going to open it up for discussion. We've all had a chance to look at this over the weekend. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. Move to 6C, adopt budget for 2023-2024 LGC 111.008.
Yes, Judge, a public budget hearing was held on August the 28th. You were each provided a proposed budget for your review. There were only 2 adjustments made since the 28th. One was in the district court judges' juvenile supplements, which were reduced by $27 annually, and one in the office equipment line item for JP2 for the purchase of a printer. So the proposed budget that you have before you, I've received no other requests for changes in the proposed budget. So the proposed budget you have before you would be the one for your consideration of adoption.
I make a motion that we adopt the proposed budget for 2023-2024.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Paradola, seconded by Commissioner Martin. Is there any other discussion? Mr. Trevino, that $27, can you explain that to me in regards to the juvenile supplement?
Yes, so the district judges get a state supplement for being on the juvenile board, and it's made up of all of our surrounding counties, Karnes, Atascosa, Frio, S, and LaSalle. District judges cannot make more than $18,000 annually, divided among all the counties, and therefore they reached out to each of the auditors to decrease their supplement to not exceed the $18,000 annually.
Is there any other discussion, Commissioner? Hear none, call for the vote on item 6C, adopt the budget for 2023-2024. Do I have a motion?
Yeah.
Got a motion and a second.
Yeah,
Where we have a motion, Paradola, okay, you're correct. We're past the discussion point. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes on 6C. We move to 6D. Vote to ratify property tax increase LGC 111.008C.
Judge, per HB 3195, this budget will raise more total property taxes than last year's budget by $1,617,898, which is a 7.611% increase from last year's budget. And of that amount, however, $923,138.55 is tax revenue to be raised from new property added to the tax roll this year.
Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion for 6D, vote to ratify property tax increase LGC 111.008C.
I'll make a motion to ratify the property tax increase.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, seconded by Commissioner Paradola. Is there any other discussion on 6D? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. We move to 6E, vote to set 2023 tax rate.
Yes, Judge, I am asking the court's consideration for a motion to be made for the maintenance and operation 2023 tax rate to be set at .401604, and the INS rate, which is the debt rate for 2023, to be set at .011529, for a total proposed tax rate of .413133.
Commissioners, on 6E, vote to set 2023 tax rate 1 and 2, 1 being M&O 2023 tax rate at .401604, and number 2, INS 2023 tax rate at .011529.
I'll make a motion that we set the tax rate that the auditor has proposed before us.
Motion made by Commissioner Perdola, seconded by Commissioner King. Is there any other discussion?
Judge, Ms. Trevino provided me with, I guess just for clarification, that we're decrease of the adoption of the tax rate of .413133, which is effectively a 5.2% increase in the no revenue tax rate and a 3.96% decrease in the 2022 property rate.
Correct. So that is,
Mandated language.
exactly.
So, I mean, I'll pass this down if he wants to revise this motion, so.
Okay, so we'll rescind that, and the motion is to,
Just let him rescind his motion, and then he can remake that.
okay, I'm going to rescind the motion. I'll open it up to the floor for a new motion.
Commissioner Perdola, if you don't mind reading the motion, please.
I know it's a little confusing.
I move that the property tax rate be decreased by the adoption of a tax rate of .41313, which is effectively a 5.2% increase in the no new revenue tax rate and a 3.96% decrease in the 2022 property tax rate.
Okay, so the motion has been made by Commissioner Perdola, the amended motion, or the rescinded, now the new motion, seconded by Commissioner King. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, to call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. Thank you, Commissioner, for the correction on that. Appreciate that. Agenda item number 7, Mr. Trevino, Auditor, discuss and possibly award the following bids on A, material hauling, material plus hauling, fuel, and lawn services, lawn maintenance services.
Okay, we are going to start with material hauling, material plus hauling. You've each received the bid tab regarding those who have submitted applications, which I'll just read them again. 181 material, Atascosa material, sorry, 90 transport, Brontex material, Colorado material, and GEM material, and Luna construction. So after reviewing the bid tabulations and providing it to you, it's my recommendation that you consider possibly awarding to all of the vendors, because each of the precincts use at least one in their respective precincts.
And Ergon was in there too for the emulsion products.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I did miss Oregon. They're on here. Yes. 181 material, 90 transport, Atascosa materials, Brontex materials, Colorado materials, Ergon asphalt, GEM material. There was nothing there, and Luna construction and trucking.
I think there's a possible mistake on the Brontex materials. It's showing 1 3/4 base picked up at New Braunfels like $16. And it was running like $7. I think Colorado materials is $7, and Brontex should be somewhere in the same area. I think that $16 is picked up at their location out by Polecats there to Wilson, Guadalupe County line.
Which item is it, Commissioner?
1 3/4 base from Brontex.
1 3/4 base.
picked up at their New Braunfels location on Wall Road. It should be somewhere in the $7, and it's showing $16 if I'm not mistaken.
It does $16.25.
Yes. And Colorado Materials is about the same location. I think they're showing $7. I think we've been paying around $7 for that material at the New Braunfels location. We just need to make sure that it actually is. I think it's just maybe a typo.
Okay. So would you like to consider awarding everyone else with the exception of Brontex until we verify?
But yes.
Okay.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure we got that correct because I do use Brontex and buy a lot of that particular product from them.
Okay.
All right, Commissioners, with the exception of Brontex, for the other two vendors, I'll entertain a motion for 7A.
I'll make a motion that we accept bids with the exception of Brontex to do a verification or a correction on that one particular item.
Motion made by Commissioner Paradola, seconded by Commissioner King. Is there any other discussion? The only thing I have is I wish these spreadsheets, and I tried to read through them this week, and it took a magnifying glass for me to try to figure out what the numbers were on here. I think we need to get a little bit bigger. I know I'm old, but this is, it's tough.
They must like me. A big one like this, so I can see it.
I mean, I literally had to use my phone to increase it. All right, there's no other discussion. We'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye on 7A.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes. We move to 7B on fuel.
Judge, we had two fuel companies provide bid submissions. One was Arnold Oil Company Fuels LLC. The other was Suncoast Resources. These were new vendors, so I did reach out for clarification on a couple of items. On Suncoast Resources, the ask was regarding minimum delivery, which they notated in their bid submission. They do require a 2,000-gallon minimum order for each delivery. And so that's what I called to confirm if it was cumulative of, precinct 1, 2, 3, 4. And they said, no, it's for every single delivery is 2,000 gallons. So I recommend for your consideration that does not qualify for what fits the best need of the county. For Arnold Oil Company, I reached out to them because the county does have several fuel tanks, both owned and not county-owned, at the different locations that we were seeking bids for. To ask Arnold Oil Company if they would be supplying the fuel tanks and incurring that expense, to which their response, after some research, they came back and said that at this time, because it is just a one-year contract, that is not an expense that they are willing to incur. They did refer me to go to the buy board to purchase additional fuel tanks for each of the locations, but that is, again, something that was not accounted for in terms of financial consideration. So I did confer with our county attorney, who directed me to Local Government Code 262.024 regarding the extension of current contracts. And, excuse me, because our current contract meets these three local government code guidelines, which are the renewal or extension of a lease or an agreement, maintenance agreement, is exempt from the requirement established by Section 262.023, which is the procurement statute. If the Commissioner's Court by order grants the exemption, if the agreement has gone through the competitive bidding procedure within the preceding year, which they did, if the renewal or extension does not exceed 1 year, which is what I am recommending, and that the renewal or extension is the first renewal or extension of this agreement. And so I'm asking for your consideration, unless you feel like you want to go out for bid again and include the purchase of fuel tanks into the contract. I'm asking or recommending that you consider extending the current fuel contracts for 1 year. And just for clarification, we did confirm the two fuel contractors that we currently have are Midtex Oil and John's Fuel. We did receive an email directly from Midtex stating that they agreed to hold the current prices for another 12 months. And Commissioner Martin did reach out to John's and confirmed also with them that they are willing to leave the prices the same for the next 12 months as well.
I'll make a motion that we extend the two fuel contracts as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Paradola, seconded by Commissioner King. Is there any other discussion on
Do we
agenda?
need
On
To
the,
reject all bids as well?
Did you do that already on the fuel? Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think that probably needs to be a different motion.
let's rescind that one and do that one first.
Correct.
That would be the correct
The
point of
proper order.
So that motion should be rescinded. All right, let's start with the other one about rejecting the bids. I'll entertain a motion that we reject the bids that are currently on the table.
I make a motion that we reject all bids submitted for the provision of fuels.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Aiken, seconded by Commissioner Martin. Any other discussion? Call for,
The only thing I would add to that, Judge, is that while the law does afford the county to do this, I don't believe this is something that a county or we should make a habit of repeating.
Correct.
It tends to suggest that we're getting outside of procurement annually. I think this is an item that the commissioners et al. Who this will affect need to probably get on earlier in the year next year so we can examine the additional costs and make changes in vendors. That's it.
and I agree, but considering the circumstances, we can't repair roads without fuel, so we need to move forward, so.
I don't
Okay,
have the authority to do it, I just don't think we should make it practice.
I agree, sir. Thank you.
It wasn't an intention this year, it just happened.
No, some of us, by virtue of the fact that it's a new position for us, didn't know that the county didn't own all of the assets and that there was going to be added expenses incurred by changing, because I've got 3 tanks that don't belong to Wilson County. And so we need to take and put that into consideration when we do this next year. And both vendors had the chance to provide the tanks, and they said, no, we want to change our bid if we need to do that, or have a
Correct.
long-term bid.
Any other discussion? I call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes. Now we return back to extending the contract for 1 year for the current vendor.
Make a motion that we extend our current contract for 1 year on the vendors that we have on the fuel.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Paradola, seconded by Commissioner King. We have any other discussion on extending the contract on 7B fuel? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. We now move to 7C, lawn maintenance services.
We did receive one bid submission from Bear Landscaping for the landscaping services for the year. However, after some discussion with the judge on potentially changing that into a position, a paid county position within which has been budgeted for, I will turn it over to the judge for the recommendation of not awarding the the lawn maintenance contract at this time.
So Commissioners, you know that I haven't been real happy, and I think you all have been direct observing what's going on our locations, and nothing against the company. When they finally were talked to, and they came around and started doing what they were supposed to, but there's a lot of things in the contract they have not been doing. They haven't been weeding out any of the locations that have flowers, like in front of the tax collector's office. Needs to be weeded around the side. They mow over trash. They mow over tree limbs, and it's just not acceptable. So when I did an inventory back here at our maintenance shed, we have 2 riding lawnmowers and all the equipment needed to maintain our own lawn services. That position, I mean, what we're paying here could pay for a position in our lawn, not only here, but with the sheriff's office, and I think there's the expo center, show barn, and Judge Terry's office needs to be maintained. That doesn't take a whole lot of work during the week to make sure those locations are maintained, and then that person can serve under the maintenance person to help out with other areas in the county. That person's going to be quite busy, but that's just my thoughts, and I just want to put it out on the table and see what you all think.
I agree.
I'd say we give it a try.
Okay. All right, so having done that, we need to reject the bid.
I'll make a motion to reject the Bear Landscaping bid for lawn maintenance.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner King. Is there any other discussion on 7C? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion passes. Do we need to approve that position or no? Got it, okay. Agenda item number 8.
We kind of already did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, Mr. Trevino, discuss and possible action on extending current fuel contracts for well, is that the one we just did? That's what we just did. Okay. All right, very good. So we got ahead of ourselves. Agenda item number 9, presentation of Governor's Proclamation for Incident 23-0001 Wildfire Season 2023. Now, there is a proclamation. I am not going to read all the counties that are on there because I think they put every one of them from the state of Texas on there. We are included, so I'll read this proclamation absent of the rest of the counties that are on there, just with Wilson. Proclamation of the Governor of the State of Texas to all to whom these presents shall come. Whereas I, Greg Abbott, Governor of the State of Texas, issued a disaster proclamation on August 11, 2023, certifying that wildfires that began on July 4, 2023, posed an imminent threat of widespread or severe damage, injury, or loss of life to property in several counties. And whereas the Texas Division of Emergency Management has confirmed that those same wildfire conditions continue to exist in these and other counties in Texas, which would include Wilson County, pursuant to Section 418.017 of the Texas Government Code, authorize the use of all available resources of state government and of political subdivisions that are reasonably necessary to cope with this disaster, pursuant to 41.016 of the Texas Government Code and regulatory statute prescribing the procedures for conduct of the state business or any other order of rule of a state agency that would in any way prevent, hinder, or delay necessary action in coping with this disaster shall be suspended upon written approval of the office of the governor. However, to the extent the enforcement of any state statute or administrative rule regarding contracting or procurement would impede any state agency's emergency response that is necessary to protect life or property threatened by this declared disaster, I hereby authorize the suspension of such statutes and rules for the duration of this declared disaster. In accordance with the requirements, copies of this proclamation shall be filed with applicable authorities. Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas. I think it's customary we go ahead and just put that to a vote, that we put it in record. Commissioners, I'll entertain a vote that we adopt this proclamation by the Governor of the State of Texas.
I'll make a motion to adopt the proclamation from the governor.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner King. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion passes. Agenda item number 10, Jim Stewart, County Sheriff, Sheriff's Office Progress Report. Sheriff, you have the floor. I have nothing to report. Okay. All right, very good. Agenda item number 11, Tammy Burleson, Permitting and Development Director. Utility permits will begin with 11A1 permit 745 Suncoal WSC Precinct 2, County Road 232.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sunco Water Supply proposes to bore and trench. So they're going to bore under County Road 232 and then trench along the county right-of-way to be placed 5 feet below the toe of the ditch. There will be a 3-inch poly line placed in a 4-inch casing. The bore will be, like I said, under County Road 232, approximately 35 feet west of the intersection of County Road 233 and County Road 232.
So I talked to Sunco today, and they're getting short whenever it comes to so these are things we got to be looking at as well. But I'm gonna make a motion. We go ahead and approve this for County Road 232 and down the. Yes.
Motion made by Commissioner King, second by Commissioner Martin. Is there any other discussion? Before I proceed, now I'm glad we have Mr. Caldwell in here. Ms. Caldwell, if we get to the point where we already know that water's an issue, and there's a whole lot of development going on in the county. I know there's things that can't prevent them that, but if we have a water issue, what can be, is there something can be done as far as slowing some of these processes down? Because we can't bring industry in here like we want to do. We've all been in agreement that we need to bring industry, and some of those industries are going to require a lot of water. How do we remedy that, other than hope for it starts raining a lot?
Back to hoping in my friends. I think we need to kind of, and I know you're the individual to bring this to heel. I think we need to focus on more of a kind of like a long-range commercial development plan for the county that involves, infrastructure issues that we'll identify whenever we got more and more developers bringing in business and also developers, developing the residential parts of the county. That committee needs to involve other actors besides the county itself. It would involve potentially local developers, potentially the emergency service districts. The water is a huge issue, but we have an entire understructure of piping in the county that is really, if I understand correctly, very, very outdated, too small, won't support firefighting operations, much less commercial operations and residential and firefighting operations. There's numerous things that I've kind of talked with about district members about the ESDs, potentially above-ground storage tanks with water, keep the pressures up. And those type of things are something that, of course, cost us money. But those are also the type of things that we can factor into commercial development when people come here, to where we can say, this is what we're going to require from you. We need you to invest in our infrastructure as much as you want us to. So you succeed, and potentially, you don't succeed at the expense of county residents. It's a complicated question, sir, but I think that it's going to require planning and the input of all the potential actors or situated actors.
So, and by no means, I didn't want that for our viewers and our audience, that we're opposed to any development here. We very much so. We're trying to resolve that critical issue of water. Need to remind the county the only way we survive here is from ad valorem taxes.
Yes,
We
sir.
don't have a local sales tax. This is all we
Mr.
have.
Phoebus wanted to make a comment.
Okay. Hold on a minute. So, let's get through this vote first, though. All right, is there any other comments? All right, I'll call the vote for 11A1. Yeah, we already had a motion second? The floor stands corrected. Great point of order. Too much discussion. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right, let's hold off for a minute. I know we have a subject matter expert, and Mr. Phoebus, come on up.
Yes, I just wanted to comment to answer your question directly as to whether or not anyone can stop development. So from the water perspective, since we have a certificate of convenience and necessity, a CCN, basically our operations area and Sunco and Oak Hills and all of them do, one of the rules with that is that no is not in our vocabulary. We cannot say no. If someone comes in and they meet all the requirements and they pay for the infrastructure to get the water to what they want, we have to serve. So that's, as a practical matter, we can't say no. So just to answer the question. And as far as requiring developers to pay for, so we do that. That's the only way we do business. Like I was saying earlier, the membership does not subsidize any development. So if developers come in, they want to put in 500-something homes, okay, well, they're going to pay to, whatever that requires. And so that's what we do.
Thank you, sir.
To his point, the kind of things I would envision developers potentially being encouraged to develop would be things that don't necessarily squarely benefit their development per se, i.e. piping underground to these homes. I'm talking about remote gravity-fed tanks to help the system. I'm talking about things that they have to contribute also to the neighbors around them, type of things. And that is not something that we can just sit here and talk about.
All right, no.
It is something that we have to think about and research and talk to these folks about.
We move to item number 11-2. Why don't we combine 2 and 4 since they're in the same precinct? We have a problem with that, Commissioner?
No.
Okay. 11-2 and 4, the number 2 being permit 746, precinct 1, Sunshine Meadow, and permit 748, precinct 1, Meadow Glen.
Okay, 746 is a proposed 2-inch PVC road bore under Sunshine Meadow, approximately 1,200 feet north of Vista Verde. Sutherland Springs Water Corp. will bore approximately 36 inches deep under the bar ditch in the county right-of-way that will tie into the existing 6-inch PVC main line for a second meter at 631 Sunshine Meadow.
You can cover 748 too.
748 is proposed bore under Meadow Glen in the Whispering Oak subdivision, 30 inches south, or 30 feet south of Cypress Court. Sutherland Springs Water will bore 36 inches deep under the bar ditch in the county right-of-way that will tie into an existing 6-inch service line for new service at 1519 Meadow Glen.
Yeah, I've reviewed these, I guess, and I asked for clarification and drawing, I don't know if that's a standard part of the deal, but the way I interpret this drawing is that says the surface of the road, and it said it should be 3 feet deep below that. And then we have the note under there that says if it's applicable, paving should be placed 30 inches below the ditch. So I think these drawings need to be revised, and we need to do a better job on those so that it's clear, so that if anyone goes out there, we can see what's going on and make sure that those do get below the bottom of the bar ditch, not the surface of the road. So with that said, I'll make a motion to approve permit 746 for Sunshine Meadow and permit 748 for Old Meadow Glen for SS Water Supply.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, seconded by Commissioner King on 11, action item A, 2, and 4. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. We move to item number 11-3, permit 747, precinct 3, Hidden Deer.
And this is a proposed bore under Hidden Deer, approximately 1,600 feet south of Quail Run. This will be 30 feet of 2-inch PVC casing that will tie into an existing 6-inch service line and will be servicing a third meter at 413 Hidden Deer.
motion that we approve permit 747 at Hidden Deer.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Perdola, second by Commissioner Aiken on agenda item, action item 11.3. Is there any other discussion? Hear none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. We now move to agenda item number 11B, non-standard plats variances. We'll begin with B. Let's do B1 and 3 together. B1 being County Road 441, 106, Precinct 4, McKinstry, and B3, County Road 314, 1359, Precinct 4, Rosenberg.
Okay, the McKinstry variance is at 1006 County Road 441, which is in Precinct 4. They were asking to split out 10.04 acres to sell and keep the 1.05 acres, which has their home on it. They both have the 40-foot of road frontage and all utilities. And they did get a favorable review from the Wilson County Development Review Board. And then the Rosenberg. Is asking to split out 1.054 acres from the total of 3.11 acres, which has an existing mobile home on it. Ms. Rosenberg's husband recently passed, and the burden of the property has become too burdensome. The long-term residents that have been renting the home on the 1.054 acres have put an interest in purchasing that property.
Did a site inspection on both properties, and of course, zoning and planning approved it. I have no
Entertain a motion, Commissioners.
Make a motion that we go ahead and accept the non-standard plat variances being respectively County Road 441, the McKinstry Place, and County Road 314, the Rosenberg Place.
Motion made by Commissioner Aiken, second by Commissioner Perdola. Is there any other discussion on agenda item 11B1 and 3? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion passes. Thank you. We now move to agenda item 11B2, Longhorn Road 113, Precinct 3, Cutzer.
So this variance is for Ms. Kotzer is asking to split 5.1 acres out of the 5.1 acres and a 4.26 acre tract from the 29.34 parent tract. She wants to keep the 3.31 acres with her home and a water well. She is doing this for financial relief and wanting to do some much-needed repairs on her own home.
I'll make a motion that we accept the non-standard plat variance on Longhorn Road on the Kotzer property.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Perdola, seconded by Commissioner Aiken. Is there any other discussion on agenda item 11B2? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. We move to agenda item 11C, update subdivision regulation. Discuss and take action.
Let's try this again. So we've had like 2 workshops and a bunch of other stuff. I think we have it down now. So I'd like to get this finalized, please.
Well, I will go back to SS's comment on page, let me find it here again, I marked it. On your tank attachment, that does need to be changed from the 5,000 gallons to the 30,000 gallons to be consistent with the, remember what page you were on, Carlos?
Yes, sir.
Oh, here it is. Page 84. And yeah, it'll be water storage, it'll be 30,000, period.
That's what we discussed.
And in my conversation with Tammy last week, Ms. Huron did not have the opportunity to provide the wording for developers to provide from the center line back to the new property line, 35 feet of right-of-way. So I think we ought to go ahead and approve this and get it rolling. She'll get us that language here, and hopefully at the next court meeting, we'll have that language. You can add that to this. Don't.
Is there any other recommendations so we can formulate a motion?
What was that on page 59?
Are you taking note of that?
Said about electric utility.
Well, to respond to that question, this is the drawing that I believe Phelps provided this one for what they need for their guy wires and such. That is a 15-foot wide utility easement, so you guys can go in there. Is that-
Yes, sir. The only thing with that,
I'm not trying to punish or anything, but the public needs to hear what you're saying.
no, yes, sir.
Yeah, they
Oh,
can't
that's
hear
right,
what
the
you're
streaming,
saying.
yes, sir. My only question with that was, sir, just to make sure that we're not excluded. And also too, with that, that easement works for electric, because it's more than likely overhead, but for water, it depends. So if acre or more, or 0.8 acre or more lots, the 15-foot easement is fine, but when you get to denser subdevelopment, like over Lake Valley, they're fixing to do the quarter-acre lots or whatnot, we only ask for 5 foot around and then 10 foot in front. So just as an example, they just talked about that. So to answer that question.
Yeah, so we got 15 there, so that includes y'all. I mean, that's a utility easement. It's not,
That's ample, isn't it? I mean, that's ample.
Oh, yes, sir. It's instead of saying just electricity, adding water as well, just to cover that.
well, it says utility easement diagram. And of course, I mean, they're showing their guy wire easement if they need it, so,
It would be covered under utility.
yeah, you're covered under utility.
All right, sir.
Water's a utility, right?
Any other?
Water, electric, gas, cable.
Water's a utility, so you're covered.
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate it. All right, Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion on 11C, update subdivision regulation, discuss and take action with the recommendations that were just made by Commissioner Martin, correct?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the subdivision and development rules and regulations with the annotations just made.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, seconded by Commissioner Peredola. Is there any other discussion on agenda item 11C? Hear none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the motion passes. We move to 11D, update permit and development fees, discuss and take action. I guess we'll do each one of those individually. So 11D1, temporary construction driveway permit of $100 to be applied to permit driveway permit within 6 months.
So we decided to do a temporary driveway to try to keep the contractors off of the roads so they'll stop tearing them up. So the $100 temporary driveway is for 6 months. If they do their permanent driveway after that, then that $100 will be applied to their permanent driveway fee, which we're gonna go up to $250, so they only pay $150.
make a motion that we accept the temporary construction driveway permit fee of $100 to be applied to the permanent driveway permit within 6 months.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Peredola, seconded by Commissioner Martin regarding 11D1. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion passes. We move to 11D2, driveway permits of $250.
And like I said earlier, we're going from 200 to 250 on the permanent driveways. And when they get their temporary driveway, it'll transfer the $100 over if they do it within the 6 months.
I'll make a motion to move the driveway permit to 250.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner King, seconded by Commissioner Peredola regarding agenda item number 11D2, driveway permit. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. We move to 11D3, variance application, $500.
We're going up on the variance fee from 100 to 500. This is because we've been getting inundated with a bunch of variances, and it's very time-consuming to process all of these. So we're asking to raise the fee.
I'll make a motion that we approve the variance fee application to be increased to $500.
Second.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Peredola, seconded by Commissioner King regarding 11D3 variance application. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. Agenda item number 11, almost skipped over 11E, discuss and take action on match project for County Road 241 of Borrego Creek Text Dot resolution.
We did this a couple of commissioners' courts ago, but TxDOT used the wrong forms, so they're asking us to re-sign the correct forms.
TxDOT got something wrong?
Yes.
Oh, and they admitted it.
They
Okay.
admitted it. That's the amazing thing.
Right, okay. No, I don't mean, you got friends, better be careful. All right, commissioners, regarding agenda item 11E, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to take action on the match project for County Road 241, Borrego Creek, to update TxDOT.
Motion made by Commissioner King, second by Commissioner Peredola. Is there any other discussion on agenda item 11E? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. We move to agenda item 12, Genevieve Martinez, County Clerk, discuss and take action on Commissioner Court meeting minutes.
And the minutes for August, and they have been reviewed by the county attorney's office.
Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion on agenda item 12, taking action on Commissioners Court's meeting.
Judge, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
On the 28th meeting, I don't know if it's the way it got printed out, but something got out of order here, and I've got duplicates and repeats. So just ask that be corrected.
Okay, so noted. Is there any other discussion? Hear none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. We move to agenda 13, Jalen Bodiford, Human Resource Specialist, presentation of payroll and personnel changes.
Good morning.
Morning.
John Hayes was hired as a road hand for Precinct 4, making $19 per hour or $39,520 annually, effective August 30th. And Stephen Fletcher was hired as a corrections officer for the Sheriff's Department, making $18.03 per hour or $39,377.52 annually, effective September 8th.
We have any questions for Ms. Bodiford, Commissioner? Thank you, ma'am. Agenda item number 14, Brenda Trevino, County Auditor, discuss and take action on county bills.
Yes, so I've got a total amount of bills that I've reviewed and approved are $201,945.16.
Have you looked at the calendar? Do you know what our cutoff date's going to be?
I would like the cutoff date for all invoices to be no later than Wednesday, October the 18th, so that on court date, October 23rd, that should be the final of this fiscal year. So I'll be sure to send out an email reminder, have Amanda send one out as well. And even if we do have some that come in past the 23rd, we can backdate, but only for a certain amount of time before we close out the period.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, seconded by Commissioner Aiken regarding agenda item number 14 on take action on county bills. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes. Agenda item number 15, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner King, seconded by Commissioner Martin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? We are now adjourned.
Not a whole bunch. Gentleman called me Friday upset because he drove through a road construction zone and got oil. And I go, we had signs up that said road work ahead.